welcome to the video. So this is this here build is the Minecraft Biweekly Build Challenge. You're probably coming directly from there, so you already know all about that. And if you don't, it's in the description. Yes. Good old linky link. Anyways, so the theme of this week was Under Siege. And for that I built a castle here that is on a cliff face in a large valley. Yeah, this would probably be slightly within the border of a kingdom, you know, pass through the mountains where that kind of is a choke point for the kingdom to defend, basically. So if the kingdom need to defend itself from any marauders or other countries invading it, it would basically be a really strong defense point. And yeah, that's basically the gist of the location of this place. But yeah, so this place here, I just walked up this hill here. This hill is very steep, so this is kind of, this castle here has two entrances. It's got this one right here, and then it's got a second entrance, which, you probably saw it a bit, this other path leads off to, which, these two entrances are for two different purposes. That entrance I walked up there, that's the kind of footpath for people on foot or other people who can climb up a steep hill. But if you have a cart or something, you probably won't be able to get that cart up here, or if you do, it's very yeah, I guess dangerous, but mostly it's just really difficult because it might get stuck or roll back down the hill, and it would require a lot of effort. So it's really not convenient, and it's, yeah. And pretty much if you're trying to carry goods into the kingdom back over that way, which is outside the scope of this build, you would have to take it through here. So this place is not only a great defensive point, but it's also a very useful point because of this tower here, this main central tower. Pretty much the sole purpose of this tower is to be a lift for people to bring their parts in and out of the kingdom from this direction. So here's just a nice little wagon with some hay. The crane would lift this up through the tower here. Here is the crane itself. This guy here is watching over the crane, making sure it's going fine. These two guys are pulling the winch to, well, retract the rope, or, well, they're preparing, because that guy's, the guy down here, he's still making sure everything's secure, tying off the cart to the sides to make sure it doesn't, you know, roll off. But yeah, and this plank here, what would happen is they would take this plank and just kind of plop it down here across from this platform to the lift whenever the lift gets up here. Just so you know, you don't have to jump across, because there is a bit of a gap. But yeah, that's pretty much the main purpose of this keep. The crane, well, in medieval times, cranes they weren't around at like the beginning era of medieval times, but by the end of it they were definitely around, with all the Gothic cathedrals and such getting constructed. So because they need to lift large heavy stones high up into the vaults of the cathedrals, because, well, yeah, that if you're making a nice cool building and you're gonna make it all out of stone like you would for a true cathedral of a Gothic nature, then you're going to need some heavy lifting. And yeah, so you can imagine that this tower here, as well as parts of this castle, were uh, brought up while that crane was assembled in there and moved around while the castle was being constructed initially, lifting large stones up so that they could be placed in the upper half of the tower to, make life easier for the workers. They don't have to haul massive, heavy stones up huge distances. And then when the castle was done, the crane continued to serve a very useful purpose, and they just left it there. Yeah, and that's actually something that happened in real cathedrals too. If apparently, in many of the cathedral towers, you can find old medieval cranes that they just left there afterwards. That it would still get used. It wouldn't be used quite like this, but it would be used for bringing things up for repairs and whatnot. But anyways, yeah. So after you come through here, this is a bit of a portcullis, or portcullis rather. These two guys are watching over it. This portcullis here, it's got two winches here that basically, if this was closed, when these guys saw somebody approaching, they would just, one of them would stay here probably, another one would go inside the tower. Let me do this in person mode. They would go inside the tower, climb on up the staircase here, come on up here, do the winching a bit until basically the portcullis had been lifted. And on the other side, let me close that door. On the other side, this guy would be in here. He'd get hollered to, and he would probably head on up, winch that too, and raise the portcullis. Yeah, just like this. And then whenever it got lifted high enough, there would be a metal rod lying around that they could just stick through the bars of it and just let it rest that way. Because most cranes in medieval times apparently didn't have any sort of like braking mechanisms, so you couldn't really, just hit the brakes and have it just hold still. But yeah, anyways, so that's what a portcullis looks like when it's up. When it's down, this other side of the castle here, this is an example of when it's down. Ropes all the way extended, and you've got this little these trapdoors here to make sure you don't fall down into the little gap there, and the guards can just lift that up before they start to raise it. But yeah, and similarly here there's two winches, which we'll probably get to. Anywho, this courtyard here, it's not there's not a lot to it because it's rather simple, really. In its purpose, basically, in terms of defenses, if an army attacks the castle, which, well, I wonder if that will happen. If an army will attack this castle or not. Anyways, if an army attacks this castle, first off, it's going to be hard enough for them to breach this portcullis here, because portcullises are pretty sturdy. But say that they manage to breach it somehow or another. They get into the courtyard here, and then they have to get through another portcullis. And basically, they have this whole courtyard where they just get kind of built up as they're trying to progress through. And the thing is that these walls, they're surrounded on pretty much all sides by the defending people here. So it basically just becomes a murder courtyard where they can just basically get mowed down without much escape. So and that's a pretty common thing in medieval castles. Is just places where people get congested and, well, can't escape when they start to get attacked and mowed down. Anyways, so yeah, these two guards here are guarding the main keep, which, let me zoom on out here to see the layout. This here's the main keep. Those are the two entrance towers for the lower cliffside. These are the two entrance towers for the back side, which leads off into the kingdom that way. And that's just a little extra tower that finishes off the cliff face. And obviously the main tower. Anyways, this big door here, going to create a spectator, go on through. Here, as you can see, here we are again, back in the big old crane tower. I didn't mention it before, but they've just got supply goods strewn about that, you know, people coming through here, not all of them were just passing through. Some of them came here to stock up the fortress to make sure, you know, that these guys are well fed and have proper, you know, tools for their weapon, proper stuff for their weapons, like whetstones and all that good stuff. So they've got that around, crates, hay bales, whatnot. And yeah, so I'm gonna continue on into the castle here. Up this staircase to the second floor where there's a bit more storage. You get this doorway here where branches off two ways. I'll get back to that. But to the left here, come out here, you got a bit of a dining hall. This is where, you know, guards would eat when it was mess time, or if they weren't on duty, they could hang out. But most of the guards are pretty well occupied. And, you know, got a nice little view here out over the valley. And from the outside, there it is. Yep. Okay. Yeah. And from here, there are three paths. There's this way down here, this way here, and this way up the stairs. This is a dining hall, so down here you've got a kitchen, a couple of supplies here. This is kind of like a clock, dinner bell type thing, you know. Here's a chef planning his meal for the evening. This here is a bread baking oven. Since bread was basically the staple food back in medieval times, like it was basically the easiest food to have large quantities of, because meat, you know, meat's expensive, and you don't really have it unless you are having some sort of special occasion or something like that. And vegetables are also on the more expensive side, just general vegetables. But bread is pretty much always good, pretty much always available. So a bread oven is an incredibly important part of any castle, actually. Most castles had a dedicated baking oven in it and a baker for it. So here it is in the kitchen. Down here, it's a bit dark because this is kind of like a cold cellar. I've got GD Optifine, so dynamic lighting. But yeah, this is just a cold cellar. You got some, I don't know, some sort of jam or something like that in those barrels, storage crate, hay bales. They do have some meat, but they generally don't use it too much. It's probably pretty salted. Stuff like that. Yeah. So that's that. That's the kitchen. This way through here. This is just a short little hallway, a little more storage that plops out here down on the lower half. Basically just a direct connection where you can just run ingredients or supplies directly to the kitchen from that main storage area out there. So yeah, that's the kitchen area. Coming on up. I won't go up there yet. I'll go out here first. Out here, you go out onto the keep wall on the kingdom facing side. So this particular exit also pretty much connects right to over here, which is part of the wall that overlooks the incoming valley. Make sure you got plenty of eyes on who's coming in. Got some archers, you know, on guard duty, chatting because, you know, it's not a lot of activity here. Here's the wall from this side. It's pretty short, but they're not really too concerned about an attack from this direction because pretty much any invaders coming into here are going to attack from the other side. So this is pretty short, so they're not too concerned about that. I mean, it's tall enough where basic attackers couldn't get in, but if they had like siege stuff, they would easily be able to get over that. But there's probably not going to. It's very unlikely that anybody with siege equipment will be attacking from that side. And if there are people with siege equipment attacking from that side, they probably got bigger problems in the kingdom to deal with than defending the entrance. But anyways, so up on here, this is that side tower off to the far left, the most isolated of the towers, but still very necessary part of the defense. So you come up here, you got a bit of a sleeping area. I haven't shown you the main sleeping area, but that's in the main keep, which is not too far away, but since this tower is kind of the most isolated, it's good to have some extra sleeping quarters over here for the guards who man this part of the tower, and they can rotate out as need be. So, yeah, got a couple guards stand duty up here if it's nighttime and, you know, they want to play some cards or something. They got that there if they're not on duty. If they're on duty and they're playing cards, they're just bad guards, but, you know. So, yeah. Further along the wall here, got some more folk. This is the chimney for the bread oven, because you need proper ventilation. I'll get back to that door later on, but come through this double door here. We're in this tunnel, which may be familiar. If you're not, it's the one that is tied in from the second staircase here, or the second level rather. And when you come up here, you go back into the dining hall. So, loops around rather nicely. I was very conscious of, you know, the paths of the guards getting through here, of kind of like, how can they get from the barracks to the walls? Can they get to everywhere in the castle relatively quickly while not giving attackers that advantage? So, but yeah, so coming up this staircase here, off to the right there's barracks, which I'll get to in a second. Out here, through this diagonal door, we're back out here on the wall with a bit of a short tower here facing the kingdom side, with just a little ladder here that you can go up and down. So, yeah, that's that. And back in here, get a little overlook here into the dining hall. And right here, this is the commander's quarters. So this fortress here would have a local commander defending it, or not defending it. I guess defending it, but you know, commanding from it, as a commander would do. So he's got a nice map of the overall keep here. Nice view of the overall valley ahead of time. Bit of extra mountain on the sides, and the castle, of course. So, yeah. Down here, this is where the barracks are. So, the rooms are pretty basic. 2 bunk beds, so 4 beds altogether per room. And a couple of rooms. So that's that. Let me go the other way first. Right out here. Bam, here we are. Right at the top of the lift. So, that's that path tied together. And this staircase here, this heads on all the way up here to the top of the lift tower. Yep, this staircase here goes down, as well as connecting out to this wall here. There's the courtyard, there's that. So yeah, let me just continue along this way. So This is the main wall because it's really close to the entrance, so you've got both this great view over the valley of people coming in, and you've got the view of the courtyard. So if people get in, you've got plenty you can do here. On the other side, you enter into another one of the main towers. Right here, this is some murder holes for the front entrance. So basically, portcullis would be shut during an invasion, and if guards are trying to, or not guards, but attackers are trying to beat on the portcullis to try and, I don't know, lift it or just get through it somehow, you could stand here with a bow and arrow, shoot through it, or a crossbow, or even in here, you could grab some hot oil crates, drag it on over, put it here, and dump it on out onto attackers, and really wreak some havoc. So nearby these murder holes, I've got a storage place for hot oil. So yeah, coming on up the tower here, we've got a bit of this we've already kind of seen a little bit. This guy here, he's one of the winch folk who would, winch on that. Up at the top here, nice little guard tower. Overlooking the courtyard as well as the valley some more. It's very important to have your towers. Back out here across the way, we're back in here. Another place for guards to hang out when they're off duty at night with a nice keg of ale to, relax, unwind. And plus, stay hydrated, because in medieval times, drinking water was so dirty that basically if you drank just plain water, you're probably going to get some disease and die. So you pretty much had to live on alcohol in terms of hydration, because alcohol was sterilized, basically, kills off all those microbes that are going to make you sick. So ale is a very key part of being medieval, because everything's so dirty and gross. But anyways, so in this tower here, once again, your murder holes for the main gate, as well as some hot oil storage, as well as just general crate storage, somewhat. And also, this tower is the farthest from the main keep in the barracks, so at least on this side of the keep. So you got some beds in here, extra little barracks, so guards on the side of the castle can just stay here and not have to walk back and forth every night, and not be available in case of an emergency. So yeah, just a short little stretch of wall here. That's the kingdom side. Not too particularly defended because it doesn't need to be, but this side pretty well defended because shoot down on the guards, or invaders rather. Anyways, coming through here, come into another tower. This tower here is one of the two towers of the exiting gate, like that. So here we are with some more murder holes for murdering purposes, and another storage room of hot oil. Oh yeah. So that's there. I got a bit of a curved staircase coming on up here into this area here. So I got these two guards there, off duty right now. Or, well, they're slightly on duty because at least one of them would be in charge of, winching this place up, winching the portcullis here, if need be. So that's what those guys are there for. They're hanging out here. And all the way at the top here, once again, just another little area for guards to hang out. It's not manned too heavily because, kingdom facing side is not where the threat's going to come from. And yeah, some more tables, because we're getting close to the main keep too. So yeah, Get some archers on up here, kind of keeping watch. That guy looking over the kingdom side, that guy talking to that guy. And here we are. In the last tower, I think? Yeah, last tower. So, right on through that door there. Come on in here. Got some more chairs for sitting around and not doing your job. Or you can or you could be doing your job. Your job is to wait around until somebody wants you to take on the winch here, up the ladder. So that's this. Through here, to tie things back together, is the barracks. Full circle. So, here's the barracks, which pops out in here into this tower. So very easily accessible for the guards. And going on up here, once more, is just the tower of... not of anything in particular, you know, just a good old watchtower for watching over your keep and your fortress and all that stuff, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's all the way down here. This door here is back out here on this wall here. That's the oven chimney. That hallway again. This is where we are. So that's that door. Make sure everything's, you know, nice and easily accessible for the guards. Comes around here. Got some oil storage right there and some more mortar holes. General storage. And you come on down here, open that door, and bam! Here we are back down by the main lift tower. Okay, so I think that's the main tour. Here's another last little view of the castle from out on front. And here it is from the back. From the kingdom-facing side. So, here it is. Pretty nice. Not as imposing as from the front, but it doesn't need to be. This side is supposedly heavily defended, and the other side doesn't need to be. So, yeah. But of course, part of the hard mode of this challenge is, and well, really the whole part of this challenge is that the castle's under siege. So now we've seen it in its normal state after a bit of teleporting. I think I'm in the right place. Don't mind over here. This is just behind the scenes area, just to, you know, transport me to where we are now, which is the castle after being attacked. Or, well, actually, in the middle of being attacked, to be accurate. So, here we are. We've got the army of the golden yellow folk attacking the castle because they want to invade this country. And this is a key strategic location. And, yeah, so they've got several squadrons and people all over the place, and catapults, good old catapults. So, here's catapult number 1. It's firing off a projectile there to attack the castle on up there. I've got another catapult down here. They are currently winching it back, getting it ready to fire. Over here you've got another catapult where this guy is preparing the payload, which is this stained clay block right there. Making sure it's lit so that it is properly flammable. Here's another legion of soldiers and a knight here looking over the soldiers, making sure, just overlooking the army, making sure everything's in order, and his horse is eating. So yeah, that's these guys attacking. The base of this tower here, well, actually this tower has been pretty heavily hit, and the rope for the winch has snapped, but so this main lift here is actually a bit broken. Not entirely, the actual crane itself is still mostly intact, which is important. These invaders, they want the lift intact when they capture this fortress, because in order to get these catapults any further into the kingdom, obviously they're going to need to get them up through this castle here, which, well, this is a very steep hill, and they managed to get this one up here, but that was very difficult, and it took them a while, and the only reason they really did it is because it was incredibly necessary, due to the fact that this portcullis here was so well defended. It's around the corner from down here, where most catapults are easily accessible to, so it's not really easily broken by catapults. So they had to bring a catapult up here to bust some holes in this tower here, which allowed them to circumnavigate the portcullis. So this portcullis here, it's down. It didn't get breached because it's just too strong. So you got more troops coming on up here, and they're flowing into the castle that way through a pile of rubble that has collapsed into a nice little ramp, with another knight overseeing everybody. So yeah, the invaders are coming on up here. This guy's making sure people are coming up through. As you can see, some oil crates got moved around while they were defending the portcullis properly. Up this way, well, the attackers kind of split up here into two different directions. One direction going this way, which actually splits in and of itself, but I'll get back to that in a second. And they also went this way, which goes up here. They laid down a plank here over some of the destruction that had been caused in this area here, where it had collapsed a good amount. Just, it was accessible. Coming across here, and they come down here to this wall here, so that they could get into the castle further, but this entrance here collapsed, so kind of a dead end. That guy's probably about to start trying to dig through that, but it's actually rather thick, which I will show right now. Like that. See? That's pretty thick right there. Yeah, that tower is pretty messed up. And it's not really enough of a ramp to climb into. So that's this tower. Here's one of the payloads from a trebuchet, or catapult rather. There are no trebuchets here. Although they probably would have been useful for the attackers. But anyways, there's one of the payloads broken through the wall. Here's a door. It's been busted open. And the attackers, some of the attackers are going into the murder courtyard on down here. They've all got shields to defend from the archers up here. Because really, it would be worth it for them to bust down this door here. But it's the defenders have this area pretty well defended. And unless they get a lucky shot with the catapults, they're probably going to remain pretty strong here. So, yeah, anyways, back in here, bit of this curtain wall has been was destroyed earlier on in the battle by a catapult here. So when the attackers got here, they laid a plank across this large gap here so that they could continue their assault, because it's much safer to travel through the wall here than it is through the courtyard. So now all these attackers are getting built up here, because in the main tower here, there's a bit of a stalemate going on for the attackers and defenders. So they've got all their archers in the front, because right now there's no clear way across. This whole area has been hit by several catapults, so there's a lot of things that have been collapsed, like the main entrance into the storage area here. This has been collapsed, and honestly, this is probably about to give way too. And everything's on fire too. So it's starting to burn away, as you can see here. The crane is on fire a little bit, but actually neither the defenders or the attackers want the crane to burn, so the defenders at least have managed to get a guy out here to try and start putting out the fires, because if you lose this crane, it's kind of nullifies the point of capturing this whole place altogether, and makes it, at least for the attackers, makes it much harder for them to further their invasion of the kingdom. But yeah, so that's this is pretty much how far the attackers have made it into the keep. Defenders are not doing well overall, but as I said, it's a stalemate now. So you've got some archers here having a face-off with those guys. Guy trying to put out the fire. The defenders are also kind of congested up here, just on this side. They're ready for the defense. Here, the wall has been recently broken through. And these guys are about to jump into action and trying to start put this fire out. And here, in the commanding officer's room, get the commander commanding. He's doing his plan, and he's like, they're attacking from down there. We got a situation looks dire, and yada yada yada. So he's commanding away, and yeah, that's pretty much all of the build here. More things on fire up here. This side of the castle is taking some damage from catapults. Just a bit of attrition, you know. What else? I guess in here, in this part of the castle, I don't need to be in spectator for this. Behind this rubble, there's a guy down here who's, well, dumping oil here. That's one that's been dumped. Here's a oil crate currently getting dumped. Nobody here at the moment, probably because they've already been burned up, but, you know, gotta make sure the castle's nice and defended. Yep, they moved the crates out of there, moved them over here. Yeah, that's the Castle Siege build here for the Minecraft Biweekly Challenge. Number 7, I believe. Yep, week number 7, I guess. It's not really a week, because it's not every week, it's every other week, but yeah, so thanks for checking out this more in-depth tour, and I hope you enjoy the build. Anyways, that's all for me and this build, so thanks for watching, and have a good one.